My name is Cookie Batch, and I'm the president of the National Association of Women's Gymnastics Judges. Today, I'm going to provide an overview of our organization, describe the process that we use for assigning judges to meets, and discuss some of our professional standards. I'm not going to cover everything about our organization today, but you can find out additional information by going to our website, which is NAWGJ.org. The National Association of Women's Gymnastics Judges is sometimes called NAWGJ, so you'll hear me throughout the presentation saying NAWGJ rather than our longer official name. We are a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and we are an independent organization. We do not operate under the auspices of any other organization's umbrella. We started in 1974, and this summer we will be celebrating our 50th anniversary, which will occur as part of our national symposium. We have about 2,200 judges who are members of our organization. We have a national governing board that consists of our executive officers and the regional judging director from each of the 8 regions in the United States. Each of those regions also have their own governing boards, and each state has their own governing board. There are a couple of states that may have 2 governing boards, such as California, Northern California, and Southern California. And there are some states who have joined together because of the size of their states being a little bit smaller, so that it's more efficient for them to operate in collaboration with one another. Our positions are elected positions. They're elected by the members of this state or the region in which they serve, and we do have term limits for each of our positions. And all of these positions are all volunteer positions. Our mission is to provide education and professional development for our judges and to support and promote women's gymnastics in the United States. In order to accomplish that mission, we have numerous clinics. We provide information on technique and appropriate techniques so that we're judging accurately. We provide many, many videos and opportunities for judges to practice judge. We have information organized in Google Classrooms for our judges to access for specific purposes. And then we also have so many other educational resources for our judges. We also have administrative forms, shorthand helps, test prep materials, and tools to use for judges to enhance their judging process. We are a service organization, and we provide education for judges to officiate at meets of all sizes and various levels for all gymnastics organizations that request our assistance. On the right, you'll see a list of some of the organizations that we provide assigning services for. Altogether, we provide assigning services for over 23 different organizations. You'll see some that are listed there, including high school associations in some states and all of the NCAA competitions throughout the United States. Because we provide service to multiple organizations, we've adopted some essential values for assigning. We maintain neutrality and impartiality in terms of assigning judges to different organizations. So what does that mean? That means that we do not make rules regarding the organizational processes. We follow the organization's pay scale and expense reimbursement policies. We don't have our own. We follow your rules and procedures regarding things such as report times, the meet structure that you choose to have, the number of judges you want per event. The only exception to that is we do not, as an organization, assign carpools, and we don't assign carpools for liability reasons. If judges want to carpool, they certainly are free to do that. We simply just do not assign them to a carpool. We typically assign 3,200 age group meets and 350 collegiate meets each year, and that requires about 22,000 assignments annually. Depending on the size and the complexity of each state, the number of assigners varies from 1 to 4. Most states use an online system for assigning called GYMJAS. That's 44 of our states that use GYMJAS. Some use Arbiter. GYMJAS was developed by Julie King in North Carolina. She's a judge, and she's designed it specifically to make this process more efficient for both meet directors, and judges. The 44 states that use GYMJAS are listed here. If your state is not listed, you can just contact the SJD, the State Judging Director, for the state in which you live, and they will describe the assigning process there. So the process starts with an organization asking us to be their assigner. We do not have to be the assigner for the entire organization. It can vary by state or district. In the assigning process, meet directors may indicate who they want to judge their meets. They can also indicate who they do not want to judge their meets, although this is rarely done through the assigning system. Most meet directors give parameters. For example, they want local judges only. Some will say, assign at your own discretion. On the other hand, some meet directors give us the names of every single judge that they would like to have assigned to their meet. Here's an example of what the meet director menu looks like. Basically, there is a meet request form, and the meet director can click on that. It will open up the form and provide the basic information. There is a $3 per judge fee that is collected by the state to support the cost of the assigning system. We'll say that all of our assigners are volunteers. However, the $3 per judge fee basically goes to support the cost of the system and the related materials or supplies that might be needed. The new meet request form that the meet director completes includes the information that you would expect. It has the name of the meet, the dates, the expected length of the meet, and if there's any flexibility, you can indicate that as well. The name of the host gym is listed, as well as their contact information and the contact information for the meet director. There's a place on the form to let us know if the meet is going to be in a gym or if it's going to be an external site, and if so, where. And also the anticipated number of gymnasts, although we know that when you complete this form, you probably don't really know that yet, but it's kind of the anticipated number. And then the type of meet and the levels of the competing gymnasts. The other kinds of information that is on the meet director form includes the anticipated number of judges that you will need, how many judges per panel you plan to use, if you were going to have a walking meet referee or a judging meet referee, what the judges should wear. So if you want them to wear the official NAWGJ uniform, or if it's a theme meet, or if you have a special uniform that you want them to wear, that is all able to be entered here into the GYMJAS system. And if you want local judges requested, you can enter that as well. You will see at the bottom that you may request specific judges for their meet. There's no guarantee of their availability, of course, but we will show you the availability process in just a moment. And also you can indicate the rooming accommodations for judges and the fee structure that you're going to be using. As a judge, this is what the system looks like to me when I go to enter my information. So I sign on. I update all of my information every year or periodically throughout the year. So of course, I'll have my name, my rating, organizations numbers for those organizations that I belong to. I can also indicate if I'm affiliated with a particular gym or not. And then all my contact information and the expiration dates of all of the requirements for the various organizations. I then enter my availability as a judge, and you can see on the left, I put just 3 months, but of course all 12 months are entered in the system. So I will indicate the dates that I'm available to judge. On the right-hand side, there are the meets for the state that I live in that are going to be on that weekend. And we can indicate preferences depending on the state. Sometimes those preferences are used and other times they are not. I'll explain more about that later. When the assigner goes to assign judges to a meet, this is the information that the assigner will see. In addition, at the bottom of this page, I couldn't make it fit all on one PowerPoint screen, but at the bottom of this same page, there will be the availability information for all of the judges in the state. So this is the state of Florida, and it basically lists the name of each judge, which I have blacked out just for purposes of confidentiality here, but it'll include the name of the judge, whether or not they're available, and their rating. If the boxes you see are blue, that means that they have already been assigned to a meet. If the boxes are green, that means that they're available to be assigned. We have about 120 judges or so in Florida. So as you can see, there's not 120 names listed here. It just shows the names of the judges who are actually available on that weekend and whether or not they have been assigned to a meet or if they are still available for that meet. Then at the far right bottom, you'll see the judges who are currently been assigned. In this particular case, 8 judges were requested, and 4 of those 8 judges have been assigned already, and the assigner was still working on assigning the rest of the judges for that particular meet. After a judge is assigned to a meet, we will get an email, as you see on the left. There's the admin at GYMJAS.com. It includes the contract. As a judge, I've already signed the contract electronically in the GYMJAS system, but this provides me with a copy of the contract should I wish to print them out or file them electronically in my own computer. So what is the status of judges? Judges are independent contractors. So as an independent contractor, as you know, as you work with other independent contractors, judges are free to accept meets or not, depending on the conditions of the meet, including their own availability. Ideally, they know the conditions of the meet before accepting a contract, but that's not always possible. We know that. For example, you can't say exactly how many days the meet's going to be, but you can anticipate the days and enter that into the system. But judges are used to that, so it's not necessarily an issue if the information you provide does not exactly match the information that is going to happen in reality. So for example, here's a meet that I accepted for the current year, and the name of the meet is there, the host gym, and I can click on show meet details if I want to know what the conditions of the meet are before accepting the contract. This shows where the meet is going to be held, and in this case, it's going to be held fairly close to my house, so that's ideal for me. And also the accommodation of rooms, single if requested, double otherwise in this case. However, because I live so close, I won't need a hotel room. So the advantage of assigning through NAWGJ, as you can see, we have an established system of managing the assigning process from the time of meet entry by the meet director through to the contracting of judges. The assigners can easily see who is available in the system, so it eliminates the need for multiple phone calls or multiple emails to identify judges for your meet. And it also allows, I think to me, this is the most important part, it allows us to coordinate the assignments. Judges can be selected to meet your criteria based on things like geography, rating, your preferences, but they can also be assigned or reassigned as needed. What do I mean by that? For example, if we have a meet in one part of the state that needs level 10 judges, we'll know that the judges need to be assigned to that meet rather than to a meet that might be local that only needs level 4 or 5 judges. So it's a puzzle, basically. We try to match the needs of the meet director with the geographic location, as well as the other requirements, such as the rating of the judge that you need. An advantage for judges of using NAWGJ as the assigner has to do with insurance. So as a meet director, I'm sure you carry general liability insurance and have insurance through your organization. However, as far as we know, there's no organization that carries professional liability for judges. NAWGJ does carry a very specific policy that covers the professional liability, which really relates to the process of making the judgment call. This is not the kind of general liability insurance, which we also have for slip and fall and things like that. This literally is liability for things that could come up related to the judgment and the application of the rules. In addition to that, we have director and officer insurance, which covers the liability for our assigners. Knocking on wood, we've never had to use that. So it's always good, though, for us to have that insurance just to make sure our assigners are not vulnerable. Another very important part of our mission is the professional development of our judges. And we have a code of professional responsibility and several canons and rules. I'm going to provide you just with a sample of some of those so that you can get the idea of the kind of integrity that we expect for our judges. One of our canons is that a judge should assist NAWGJ in fulfilling its duty of making judges available for events. That seems pretty reasonable. A judge should avoid even the appearance of professional impropriety. A judge should be well qualified in gymnastics, know the rules, and be thoroughly prepared for each assignment. A judge should prepare for each judging assignment and should be knowledgeable of the rules and rule changes through study and clinics. A judge should fill all assignments and be punctual. A judge should be alert at all times, should quickly yet accurately produce scores, be prepared to explain those scores by working through conferences and by dealing with inquiries in a dignified and a professional manner. A judge should not solicit meets. We know that if a judge tries to solicit meets, that puts the meet directors in a very awkward situation. So we are always asking our judges to refrain from soliciting meets. A judge should be completely unbiased, and a judge should not allow anything to influence, affect, or give the appearance of affecting her or his judgment in rendering a fair and impartial and honest judgment. And also, a judge should not be overly officious. That's just some of the canons and rules that we have. If you'd like to see the complete set of those, they are available on our website in the first section that says About Us, and it's our official documents. I do want to address one other issue, though, that comes up for some organizations. Every organization has a different set of goals and purposes for its gymnastics association. The responsibility of our judges is to apply the rules of the organization that is consistent with your philosophy, mission, and goals. Our judges have gotten very good at adapting to the mission and philosophy of different organizations. The important key to this, though, is communication. It's important that the judges have access to your rules and also that communication be continuous and ongoing. As with most things, communication is extremely important. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to contact me. My email address is listed here, and I'm happy to have conversations with you about the process. Thank you for listening to this presentation.